Hey there, thanks so much for tuning in. My name is Ramon Newman. I'm founder, CEO of New Mavericks, and my company has a proven track record and reputation of ensuring that CEOs get the results that they want to see happen. And that clearly saves them a lot of time, money, energy, ROI, key talent, shareholder value, and most importantly, their health and reputation. And we've seen over the last 12 months, there's been a number of top leaders, even over the last 8 years since the GFC, a number of top leaders of very significant companies who have had to step down or forced to step down due to some element of their maybe behavior or maybe their health wasn't good. And that has led them to not being able to lead as fully or as long as they would like. And that's really unfortunate. And so what's become more common now these days is how do we take care of our mind and emotions? And what we see is really the market has been more inundated with more relaxation techniques, more meditation techniques, and there's a whole cluster of them. And I believe any form of relaxation and meditation is very, very useful for recovery. And I believe we need to put more emphasis on recovery just as much as activity, because the better you recover, the better that you can act and perform. And so there's a lot of meditation out there, and I want to break it down into 3 distinct categories so you're clearly understanding what each meditation technique does, because a lot of people don't really understand fully what a relaxation meditation technique is doing, or what types of meditation and what is the best for them for where they're at and what they require. So I'm qualified to talk about this for a couple of reasons. First of all, I am a former full-time meditating monk, and that means 8 hours a day, 7 days a week, and I did that for a total of 10 years. And that represents tens of thousands of hours of deep, silent meditation. So I think at this point, based on my experience, which ultimately is the only teacher, I have a good idea of what meditation is all about and how to get the best value out of it. And also, I'm a former competitive champion athlete in running and rugby, and I did that for 10 years. And so I understand both the inner game and the outer game at the same time. And I actually learned to meditate myself as a result of burning out as an athlete, because I put so much emphasis on that activity side of the equation and not enough emphasis on the recovery side of the equation. So I basically burnt up my capacity to perform. And this is why meditation and relaxation is so important, because it actually enables you to expand what we call your coherence capacity, which makes your confidence and competence and ability to be congruent and connect with yourself and others in a better way that much more effective. So let's get to the point of these different types of meditation. And by no means is any meditation going to make you perfect. It helps you to be more perfect and overcome your imperfections. But even today, I still battle with my own challenges and errors and mistakes and accidents. But what I find is that it gives you a greater ability to rebound, to adapt, to be more in tune with change and be ultimately a victor of change rather than a victim of change. So we're going to start with the first one, and this first one is called focused attention type meditations. So focused attention meditation is where you are specifically focused in a certain period of time on one specific thing. So it helps your one-pointedness, it helps your focus and concentration to go up. And what it does is it activates the gamma frequency in the brain. And gamma is activated when we put our attention on things and focus on things. It's a very excited and alert frequency, very useful, obviously, to be alert and engaged in things. And if we see this diagram here, is that we have the surface level active mind, and then we have the deeper levels of the mind and the most settled level of the mind. So the focused attention meditation techniques, that they focus the active mind on one particular point. It activates this gamma frequency, and it gives you more focus and power of focus and concentration. At the same time, it requires a lot of effort to do that, because the mind tends to want to flow with things. And it also still keeps the mind relatively on the surface level of the mind. And when the mind is still held on the surface level, it doesn't actually allow the body to settle down and get that deep rest and recovery. And so this gamma, it has its useful function, obviously, but it's still keeping the mind on the surface and doesn't allow you to get that deeper level of rest and more expanded capacity. So it's useful for strengthening focus and concentration. The second type of meditation techniques that are out there is self-monitoring or open monitoring type meditation techniques. And these have you monitoring yourself or some other aspect. It could be your body, some part of your body. It could be your feelings or your thoughts or certain sounds that they may be playing or instruments. Could be words that either you're saying or someone else is saying. Guided type meditation type stuff. Could be breathing type stuff. Kind of mindfulness or vipassana type meditation techniques. And they're very useful for really processing things and reflecting and contemplating. And what that does when you do those types of activities is it activates in the brain what they call the beta frequency in the brain, when we focus on something and then we also process information and data from it. So that's very useful, obviously. At the same time, it's a more settled level than the active focused attention meditation, so there is more settledness there, and so then the body gets to be more settled as a result, because the mind-body connection that is very intimate. Whatever the mind does affects the body, whatever the body does, it affects the mind. So it does activate more of this beta, more reflecting, processing, contemplating type things, which is very, very useful. But it's still engaging the mind on a more surface level, doesn't really fully allow it to settle down and gain that deeper and deeper level of rest. So the last type of meditation techniques that you find out there is what they call automatic self-transcending techniques. Now these types of techniques tend to be more effortless and more natural because they use the nature of the mind to want to be settled. Our body wants to be active, but our mind in general likes and enjoys being settled. So automatic self-transcending techniques, what they've found to do, because they allow the mind to go to deeper levels of settledness very automatically, and any good technique is really just a vehicle to get you to an experience. And so these techniques are vehicles that allow you to more fully settle the mind, and what happens then is it activates this global alpha coherence in the brain. As the mind's more settled, more alpha frequency gets activated in the brain. Now, what does global alpha mean? Well, it means a more alert frequency, and it's also a more settled frequency at the same time. So it encompasses both the gamma and beta frequencies. There's alertness there. And at the same time, it encompasses what they call these deeper levels of relaxed frequencies, which are theta and delta when we sleep and when we dream. When those frequencies get very activated. Now, they're very slow and relaxed frequencies, so theta and delta, and that's very, very useful. But the interesting thing about alpha is it's alert and settled at the same time, and this actually gives you rest up to twice as deep as the deepest part of sleep. So get rid of stresses or impressions that not even sleep can get rid of. And that is very, very powerful rejuvenator for the mind and for the body. And then what happens is you're able to feel more, you're able to see more, you're able to know more, and you're able to have more of those right thoughts and feelings at the right time. And this is what they've found, is that world-class athletes, business leaders, and musicians actually have large amounts of this global alpha coherence in their brain functioning. And that allows them to have more of those right thoughts and feelings to act on, and have up to 5 times less thoughts than the average person, because they're functioning more from this alpha state. So these automatic self-transcending techniques really bring the full benefits of meditation. It's like any vehicle that is out there has some quality and value to it and experience to it, and they're not all made equal. Because obviously there's a diversity and people have different needs and different resources. And so these meditation techniques are also like that. And so the automatic self-transcending techniques are very powerful. Now, there's two ones that I'm aware through research, and I've spent a number of hours with top neuroscientists, some of the top world leading neuroscientists in performance neuroscience, and they've studied these athletes, and they've found there's more global alpha activated in them. And certainly exercise activates more global alpha, certainly music does, especially playing music, because it engages you on so many levels, mentally, emotionally, and physically. But it's the transcending techniques that they've found. Even people who have been doing transcending techniques for a long time have as much or more than world-class performers. And so we want to be able to cultivate that. And there's two techniques that have shown to activate a lot of alpha in the brain. One is one of the Qigong techniques, and another one is TM, Transcendental Meditation. The only difference between the two is that they found that the TM technique, because it's so simple, natural, and effortless, it had an effect right from the get-go when someone first actually practiced the technique, versus the other techniques, which tend to be a little bit harder, and they found that it takes a little bit longer, maybe even a number of years, before more of that alpha is activated. So obviously, we have a choice. We want to do things a little more effortlessly and naturally, and so we can get the benefits right away. And this is why a number of top business leaders like Oprah and her team, and Ellen DeGeneres and her team, and Ray Dalio, one of the biggest hedge fund managers in the world, and his team, and Dr. Oz and his team, they've all embraced the TM technique because of the simplicity and natural and effortlessness of it, and to get the full benefits of meditation, which is a more settled and alert mind, which is more alpha, more global alpha. Now, certainly all meditation techniques are of value, and as I've just explained, they have their different types of value. So when you're evaluating a meditation technique to use for yourself and your team, look at it from those perspectives, and then decide for yourself, based on research, based on other people's experiences, and ultimately your experience. Go and practice all the different meditation techniques and realize for yourself, based on your own experience, which one has the best effect for you. So if you're all interested in going deeper with this, then we're here to help you and support you and help you implement the best technique and educate people about the best experience they can have in terms of doing a meditation technique that really works and is really effective. So thank you for your time. If you want to discuss this further, reach out to us at newmavericks.com, and we're more than happy to jump on the call and have a deeper discussion with you. In the meantime, have a fantastically, dynamically active yet alert and settled day.